Alrighty, welcome back everyone, I am Lace here. Today's video is a continuation of a series that I do on my channel called my class review guides. So towards the end of every expansion, I try to do an update as to what has changed with the three main classes I play, Bard, Necromancer, and Ranger. This is the update for the Ranger class in the Shadows of Luclin expansion for the EverQuest Mangler server that I play on in 2020. Let's get into it. So let me show the first page. Yeah, this is the PowerPoint I made for it. Alright, so table of contents, we're going to be going over the new spells, some big gear you might want to take a look at, alternate advancements in Luclin, and I didn't want to make a separate video for this, but I'm going to include some of the alternate advancements you should save up for Planes of Power. Let's get into it. So some of the new spells that become available in this expansion include a new quick snare called Tangling Weeds. This is actually a very great spell. Let me actually go to the website. Tangling Weeds, it goes up to a 55%, but it casts so incredibly fast. It casts half a second. This is, I think, even faster than Flame Lake. This is a great way to pull aggro, doesn't cost a lot of mana, and if a mob is also running away, this is a great one to stop that from happening. Good range. Next one I'd like to talk about is Jolting Blades. Now, this lasts for, I believe, 15 minutes, and what it is, in previous expansions, Rangers got melee procs that would help them build aggro, actually, like Call of Flame, Call of Sky, and they did a little bit of direct damage on top of it. Jolting Blades is sort of the reverse of that. It's a proc that lets you get off the aggro table. It procs a jolt. So if you're getting in some issues in melee, this is definitely a great spell to have on. But I don't really think that these procs, like Call of Flame, Call of Sky, Jolting Blades, I don't know if they work with archery. I think they only work with melee, from my understanding. But, I need to ask about that, but I really don't think it works with archery. Yeah. And let's talk about the next one, Eagle Eye. This is a must get. So in the Luclin expansion, archery really becomes forefront with alternate advancements. So Eagle Eye is a very important buff you want to get. It lasts for about an hour, and it increases your ability to hit with archery by 40%, and it gives you Ultra Vision too. It helps you see better and see invisible, which is very nice. This is a buff you always want to keep on. And Warder's Protection, I think this is a self-only buff that essentially replaces Call of the Predator and I think Strength of Nature, the two major attack buffs that Rangers get. You still want to cast those for all your group members, Call of the Predator and Strength of Nature, but Warder's Protection is better for yourself. This is a self-only buff, and I think it gives you more attack than those two buffs. And it's a little bit of a damage shield, so it's pretty nice. So that's all those 4 new spells that are available in this expansion. Let's get into gear. So I want to apologize first. I mostly play Bard, so I'm not as in-depth. I don't have as in-depth knowledge about what is the absolute must-have gear for Rangers in this expansion, but this is what I've gathered. So the first thing is you want to get a Corrupted Shishar bow. You need a Shishar Bane weapon to be able to hurt Emperor SSRA. And let me see if I can show it. I actually have a video out. It's a very easy bow to get. Very easy bow to get with a decent range of 150. A damage delay is worse than the bow I'm currently using at this point in time. But very easy bow to get. Very easy bow to get. And you definitely need it for Emperor SSRA. And you know, while I'm here, I might as well also show some of the arrows, because as Endless Quiver comes into effect in this expansion, I want to get some arrows. So I think you change these out. They have different cold damage, fire damage, magic damage. You want to change these out depending on the fight, from my understanding. depending on the resist of a raid mob. But just in general, I use the Blessed Champion arrows. I believe there's also a... Tuner is the main religion. There's also another main religion that rangers can be. I forget. Regardless, there's an analogous bow, analogous arrow for the other ranger deity. That's the best for them. But yeah, I always use the Blessed Champion arrows, unless on specific fights it's better to have a different... It's better not to use fire damage, it's better to use cold, or whatever it might be. Let me check real quick on the Bazaar to show some of the bows, too, that you can get. You can actually purchase that are quite good. Alright, so here it is. These are the 2 bows. Hey, going for a decent amount of money, but... Yes, these have, wow, 250 range. That's incredible. Yeah, they give you a lot of range, and it's Karana. It's Karana that's the other deity. So there's a Karana arrow that's available that's analogous to the main arrow that I use. So these are probably the best purchasable bows. I think they're selling for about 7k platinum at this point in time. Very decent damage delay. Let me see how are they compared to the one I'm using. Oh, they're better. They're definitely better, and they got better stats. Absolutely. Yeah, so these are probably the best purchasable bows. But let's go back into this. Let's talk about the best bow that I think is available in this expansion. Best damage delay bow that I'm aware of. Called Bow of Storms, and it drops off of Lord Inquisitor Saru, Sanctus Saru. Which fortunately means you don't have to get keyed for Vexthal or something. It has I think it's a direct damage nuke for 105, and it's got a 1.06 damage delay ratio. It's actually 35 delay, 37 damage, 250 range, so you can definitely avoid those AoEs. Having a long range bow does matter, because there's some AoEs where you have to at least be over, say, like 125, 150 to avoid, especially in... I remember it was one of the bosses in Temple v. Shan. That's a major pain. I think it's Lady Nev. Her AoEs have a ridiculous range, but you can outrange them with I think a 150 bow. Or a 175 bow, I'm not entirely sure, but you can outrange it. But the bow that I was using at this current point in time was not good enough. A 110 bow is not good enough for Lady Nev. So there's Bow of Storms, with some alternative ones include like the Bow of Flames, the Bow of Shadows. There's a bunch of different other bows that drop in Vexthal. But yeah, definitely want to get Bow of Storms if you can. And what else is on here? There's also some mana regeneration items that you might want to keep an eye out for. So the best one that's available being the Talisman of Vakareth, which gives you 8 mana regeneration. My bard has this. It comes off of a little quest you do from getting a item drop off of Atenha Ra in Vexthal, sort of the end boss. Starred Yttrium Ring, which is 5 mana regen off of Inquisitor Saru, so you're always going to be there to get the Bow of Storms. You might as well get this while you're at it. And then I'd also get this, Claw of Vysdra. This is a melee, and yeah, it goes in primary, secondary. It's a melee weapon. Also can be go in your hand slot, and it gives you 4 mana regen off of a weapon. It's ranger only, and it comes off the Cursed Cycle in SSRA. Yeah, that's really nice. That's really, really nice. There's some other miscellaneous items. You might also want to do Earring of Solstice. You can quest that really easy. It's just a trade skill quest. All the items you can buy in the Bazaar. That's definitely worth getting. And the mana regen cap is 15. So I think Vakareth, that's 8. Yttrium Ring 5, that would put you at 13. Claw of Visor, yeah, you'd be at cap. You'd be over cap. So let's look at what's the next one. Shrink Clickies, Wand of Imperceptibility, and there's a that drops in the deep, and then there's a wrist that drops in Vexthal that my bard has. And then as well, in this expansion, mounts are finally available. I don't have a good mount, but it's good enough. With the mount on, you can use it in outdoor zones, and it basically lets you perma sit down as long as you're not moving. And it makes it so that if you get pushed, it doesn't push you as much, like if you're standing up. Yeah, it really helps. You get a lot of regen bonuses. But I prefer not to pull with them because there's a bit of lag time if you're engaged. Next, let's go into alternate advancements. This is the expansion where archery really shines, where it takes forefront stage. In many of these raid fights, I see rangers are consistently number 2 on the parse. They finally are beating monks for number 2. They're just behind wizards, who were very consistently near the top on most raid fights. Archery finally becomes incredibly powerful. And also, don't forget about True Shot. True Shot is a great ability that helps you do a little bit of extra damage. But the big ones being Endless Quiver, which lets you infinitely use a arrow. Lets you infinitely use, all you need is one arrow, and you can infinitely use the arrow in that slot, which is amazing. You wouldn't be able to do any of this without that, really. The other one being Weapon Mastery of the Scout, also known as Archery Mastery, which within 3 ranks, it gets you 100% bonus to archery damage. So Endless Quiver and Weapon Mastery of the Scout, those are the first 2 AAs you should get, bar none, in this expansion. Nothing else prior to that. They renamed Archery Mastery to Weapon Mastery the Scout because at some further ranks in later expansions, it boosts melee damage too. I think sometime rangers can swap over to melee damage, preferably over archery damage. I'm not entirely sure about that, but for a while, I think at least for Luclin and Planes of Power, archery is their preferred means of DPS. And then next, after you get those 2, you definitely want to go for Combat Fury, which enables you, at least you have to have the first rank, it enables you to hit critical hits at all. And I believe there's 3 ranks which further increase the chances of getting a critical hit, which is huge. And then some miscellaneous stuff. There's AAs for boosting your HP regen, your mana regen, run speed. You have defensive AAs which boost your defensive caps and your ability to void damage. Spell buffs that increase the duration of your spells, how long it takes to cast the long duration buffs. There's an innate camouflage insta-click, that's really nice. And I think there's some boost to healing efficacy, and then, of course, MGB, Master Group buff, if you wanted to click a specific one buff. That's nice. Refresh takes 7 seconds for innate camouflage to be reusable, and it lasts for 20 minutes. That's actually really nice, as opposed to the helm that I've been using forever. Toland's helm, which takes 10 seconds. It's stupidly long. Yeah, it takes forever to cast. I think this is an insta-cast. That's pretty nice. And now, instead of making a separate video, here it is. Let's talk about some of the main alternate advancements you want to look out for in Planes of Power. I'm saving up just 7. I think you really just need 7, ideally. 7 AAs for Planes of Power. I think it costs 4 for Headshot, and what Headshot is, I think this is the first AA you should get. Passive ability grants your archery attacks a chance with a 10% bonus to deal 22k damage to level 59 or lower humanoid NPC targets. This thing got nerfed. This thing definitely got nerfed. It's not as good as what it used to be, because they put a cap on it on how many times this can go off within a set period of time. It's sort of like they put caps on procs, on weapon procs, of where they can only ideally proc like 2 times every minute or something. They did this with Headshot, so it's not as good as it used to be. And I'm not sure if humanoid NPC targets, if that kind of also is detrimental to this. It's still worth getting, but nowhere near as powerful as what it used to be. There's also Guardian of the Forest, so 4 and 3, these are the 7 AA points. Guardian of the Forest is a cooldown ability that gives you, I believe, a little bit of V3 haste. It boosts your HP regen, and it boosts your attack power and a little bit of base melee damage. And it recharges every 15 minutes, it looks like. So definitely worth getting. And Trap is a AA quick snare. You get it every 5 seconds on the refresh timer. It looks nice. And it's a 50% snare. Casts about 2 seconds. And lasts for 14 minutes. That's a pretty nice snare. There's Burst of Power, which gives you a better chance of landing a double attack. So definitely if you're going to be meleeing... Oh, I don't know. Is it melee only? Yeah, I don't know if that helps out with archery. So it might not be that great. And Planar Power, which can boost your stat caps. Like right now I think it's 255. I think this might be able to let you push over that. So that's really all the AAs and all the information that I wanted to cover in this. Thank you guys all so much for watching, and thank you guys all so much for the support. I will see you in the next video.